Let me tell you guys this, depending on your product, depending on what you're selling, you will double your sales, right? You will somewhere in the range of 20% to 100% increase in sales if during checkout or right after checkout, you cross-sell and upsell. All right, what's up everybody? We're gonna talk today. I just got this email from Daytona Helmets because it's a motorcycle helmet company, and I used to have a motorcycle, and I just sold it. I don't have it anymore, but I did buy a helmet from these guys one time. They have these really cool, like, low-profile helmets that don't make your head. My head is enormous, and big helmets just look absolutely absurd on me for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think just because of the huge head. Let me close this window. And so they make these cool, like, lower-profile helmets that aren't quite as bulky. And so I had this helmet when I had a motorcycle. I had like a Harley Street Glide, which was pretty cool, but I just didn't ride it enough, so I sold it. Anyway, I got an email just now from Daytona Helmets, and I thought this would be a cool opportunity to review their site, because they just launched a new site apparently. So I haven't bought anything from these guys in at least 5 or 6 years, maybe. One of the things you have to be a little bit careful about with this is when you send out mass emails to people you have not been in touch with in a long time, you're gonna get higher spam complaints. And these guys, I recognized their name and I knew who they were, but sometimes we've all had this experience where we get an email from someone and we're like, who is that? You have no idea who it is. It seems like spam, but sometimes it's from somebody that you actually have bought something from in the past. So it's not technically spam, but they did email you 5, 6, 7 years later, and so unless you remember the brand or you remember the name, and honestly, even if you do, there's a higher probability you're going to mark that as spam. So you got to be a little bit careful with this kind of thing. What I would typically do on a project like this, because here's the thing, I think it's you definitely want to, it's a good idea, send out an email, activate your account. I'm not sure I'd phrase it that way. What I would probably do is send out an email, but I would segment my list. I'd find the people, I'd take the people that we haven't contacted in a really long time, in a year maybe even a little less than that, maybe 8 months or something. Segment that list, export the people who are older, those older contacts that you haven't been in touch with, take those into a different system. You got to have time to do this, it's a little bit of effort, but go get a different domain, because you're going to get high spam complaints for stuff like this, right? The safest thing to do, and here's the thing, your sender reputation on your primary domain is crucial. It is absolutely crucial. Every time you send out a blast and you get a lot of spam complaints, your reputation goes down, and the likelihood that you're going to end up in an inbox versus the spam box goes down. So you got to be a little bit careful about this, right? So you should protect your primary domain as if it were a very, very valuable asset, your primary sending domain. And so if you're going to do something like this, what I would probably do, export all those old emails, go get a different domain. In this case, they're on DaytonaHelmets.com. Use like DaytonaHelmets.net or DaytonaHelmet.com or, Daytona Emails or something like that, right? Get a different domain. Go warm that domain up. You can use some tools to increase because when a domain starts out, it has low sender reputation, right? So you can use tools to increase the sender reputation of that domain. People use it a lot for like cold email outreach. They'll use a separate domain. They'll go warm that domain up, and it's called warming it up. You're basically just getting its reputation up from baseline, so the deliverability is okay. Warm up that domain. Get those old emails, pull them into like MailChimp or whatever you're using to send, and send through that new domain, that separate domain, to all the old contacts. That's what I do. Then I'd send, if people are, have recently purchased from us, then I would send out an email like this. This isn't bad. This could actually work, like activate your account. I'm not sure I'd phrase it that way. I'd probably, I also wouldn't say, hey, we launched a new site, because who cares? Your customer doesn't care that you launched a new site. Some of them do, but listen, you care that you launched a new site. Your customer don't care. Your customer, what's in it for your customer, right? Saying, hey, look, we launched a new site, not that cool. Tell me what's in it for me. Hey, we launched a new site, we're having a sale to celebrate, right? Or, hey, we launched a new site, we have this whole new product line that you're going to love, right? Or I'm assuming these are for snowmobiling. If they didn't sell snowmobiling helmets before, maybe this was a new line and it's out. Say, hey, look, we've got this whole new line of products. What is in it for the customer? That's what I'd probably do. And honestly, I'd probably run a sale. Even if it's a kind of a small token sale or something like that, I'd probably run something to really get people back to the site, re-engage, especially on those old emails, right? Those old emails haven't bought anything in a while. Re-engage, that's an opportunity to re-engage. That's an excuse to re-engage. Get them back to the site, give them a little discount. This kind of stuff can sometimes work because people will look at it and they'll be like, I have a new account. What is that for? I don't even know. And then we go to the site. Ideally, you land them in a place that explains what it is, but you land on, a page that says activate your account, and then below that is like this image of this guy. And then you're like, oh yeah, Daytona's that motorcycle helmet company I bought it like 6 years ago. That's right. That's cool. Oh, this is cool. I like their imagery, blah, blah, blah. And then you might get sucked in, right? That's what you want. You want the person to land on the site and then get sucked in. The problem with this is a 7-year-old account, and I land here. There's nothing to suck me in. It just says activate your account, and I'm still like, I don't even know who this is unless I recognize the name, right? So that's an opportunity right there. Your goal in an email is to get a click. Get them to land on the site. Get them to take the next step. It's like writing a novel. Your goal of writing a novel, that first sentence of your novel, is just to get somebody to read the second sentence, which is to get somebody to read the third sentence, right? Same thing. Think sequentially like that. You send out an email, the goal is to get that click, land on your site. The next step, the next goal is to suck them in, right? Suck them into the site, get them browsing, get them to say, oh, that's cool, that's amazing, let me spend time on this, right? That's why this is a little bit of a missed opportunity right here. Let's take a look at the site too, because the site's apparently brand new. I actually don't remember what it used to look like. If you want to see what a site used to look like, you can go to archive.org and type in for some reason helmets is hard to type, DaytonaHelmets.com, that's it. Type in the domain and you'll get all this history. Archive.org basically crawls the internet and saves it, right? Saves old versions of the internet, essentially. It's pretty cool. So if you ever want to see what an old site looked like, they usually don't have all the pages. They don't often have everything you're looking for, like all the pages. Sometimes like a site will be blocking archive.org and it just won't have an old version. Sometimes they look a little wonky, but like we can go back to 2020 and like click this snapshot right here. So it grabbed 3 snapshots, it says, from February 14th, 2020. I think that was Valentine's Day, wasn't it? Feb 14? I think it is. So that archive.org is super slow. So while that loads, we'll let that guy load right there and take a look at the site. So the site's cool. I love, the photography's awesome. This is, if you're selling a product, your photography needs to be insane. Like, absolutely epic. And not only does it need to be good, it needs to sing to that user, right? It's, in this case, who are we targeting? Motorcycle riders. You need to sing to that motorcycle rider, and that's one of the reasons I like this this photography. Is it's got a little bit of like edge to it, I mean, that's, if you're riding a motorcycle, that's what you're going to be into. There's high contrast. You can see the darks are dark, the lights are lighter. There is everything sort of down on the darker side of the spectrum. It's got this grungy look. I mean, there's graffiti in the background. It's on a brick, it's in sort of an industrial area, but then it contrasts with this really sick, clean Harley Davidson in the background. The helmet looks really good. The helmet's got the edge to it as well. This guy has the edge. He's tatted up, got the gloves. I mean, this speaks to a motorcycle rider, right? And I like how they're speaking to different people, right? He's got a KTM dirt bike / dual sport sort of thing there. These are cool videos. This is a weird combination. You've got like a dirt bike with I forget what they call these helmets, but that combo's a little weird. I think typically you don't see dirt bike riders wearing that helmet. It's a nitpick, honestly. But no, I mean, the photography's great. I think that's amazing. It captures you right away, right? The other thing you want is when you land on a site, you need to immediately know exactly where you are. Like, exactly where you are, okay? Because what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to land on your homepage who don't know where they are, right? They're going to get an email like I did 7 years later, and they're going to click through, and they're going to land, if I did land on the homepage in that case, they're going to land on the homepage, and they need to immediately, within a second, within 2 seconds, know exactly where you landed. And that's a really common mistake. If you cannot, you should be able to look at a site, squint your eyes, and instantly know what that site is. Okay? In this case, I think they do a pretty good job of that. If you think about it, there's a few things here that make that work. I'd also really work on that logo. It is pixelated. It is really badly pixelated. I would, you want that to just look really solid. Look at what we get. If we think about it, squint test, all right, we land, we see, all right, this is a motorcycle thing, right? So if I don't need to think deeply about it. I just need to know if I'm a rider, if I have a bike and I land here, I need to know this is for me. That's really what I kind of need to know. And I think this sort of passes the squint test. And then as you start to look around, you see helmets, you see motorcycle, you see Daytona helmets. So really quickly, you kind of know where you're at. So I would say this passes that 2-second squint test pretty well. This homepage does. And then you get down here, you've got new arrivals listed. That's good. That's cool. I would even consider, I think new arrivals is cool. I would consider either another row or maybe even consider testing. You kind of have to test this stuff because you never know, you don't totally know what your end user is gonna like the most. You know what I mean? So are they gonna prefer new arrivals? Is that gonna sell more, right? Well, maybe your new products suck. And if they suck, then maybe you want another option there. Or maybe you just need to test that out a little bit. But you could replace this, or a test you could run is swap this out dynamically, run a proper split test, and put new products, and then do another variation where it's best-selling products, right? Top selling. That's what I'd definitely consider putting there, or even just another row with top-selling products, right? Out of the way here. Yeah, so I mean, their site's pretty basic. They haven't spent a ton of time on the actual design, the aesthetics of the background, right? They've kept it really, really basic, which I think can work. I think they do make up for that big time with the photography, and that's something you can see really well. You know, Apple's website is a great example of that. Right now, maybe not, because they do a lot of stuff with like colors and animations and things like that. But in not even the too distant past, like 5 years ago, Apple's website, if you broke it down, if you removed all the photography, the product photography, it was just a plain white page with nothing, no aesthetic elements whatsoever, just a plain white page. That entire website was product photography, but really good product photography. So you can make up, and I mean, if you're selling a product, and or I mean, honestly, if you're selling anything, you should really consider about how much emphasis you put on photography, because it really is a way to communicate a vibe which is gonna connect you with your customer and cause them to keep looking and keep shopping and be more likely to buy stuff. So the fact that they spent a good amount of time and energy on photography and a little bit less on the aesthetics of the frame, if you will, of the site, I think that's the balance I would pick if I were gonna, pick one or the other. So if we go to helmets, they've got products here. They've got a little faceted nav here. I believe this site's on Shopify. Did I see that? I swear I saw Shopify somewhere. I'm not totally sure, but yeah, I see collections up here. This does look like a Shopify site. So these product images, I would probably tweak these. I would put, you want these to be, again, this is about the products. This page is about the products. So you want it to be easily navigable. You want it to be very, very easy for me to find stuff. You want it to be even easier for me to find the stuff that you want me to find. So for example, if you have products that are out of stock, you need to demote those in the results. Be careful about totally hiding those completely from the whole site. Those can be great SEO pages, SEO landing pages to bring traffic into the site, those old products. But you don't want them showing up at the top, right? So you want my experience as a user to be really solid. Land here. These are probably the most likely products I'm going to buy. Sometimes you'll just put them in order, but think about that a little bit. But again, this page is about the products. So I would definitely take, you have these products that are black, they're on a black background. I would definitely make that frame white at the bare minimum. I'd consider making the whole page white because white on black tends to be a little hard to read. You could test it though. I mean, you could experiment, run a version with a white background, run a version with a black background, and measure all your metrics. See, look at bounce rate, look at time on page, look at how that ladders up to revenue and things like that. You could figure that out. It wouldn't even be that hard to test. So let's see if we click through to a product. Again, this is good, but we're selling products here, and guys, products are about how they look. And this is a black product on a black background. Put that thing on a white background. Because I can tell that photo is good. I can tell it's a good quality photo. The lighting looks great. I think it's really high quality, but I can't see the product really. It just blends into the back. Yeah, I mean, other than that, let's walk through the checkout process too, because this is really important. This is a D2C site, right? If you don't know what D2C is, direct to consumer. That means that you are a brand selling a product on your website, e-commerce, direct to the buyer. Right? As opposed to going through Costco, right? As opposed to, if you sell your product in Costco, you sell your product to Costco and Costco sells it to the consumer. If you sell on Amazon, even Amazon is not really D2C, right? Amazon, even though you might be selling to the consumer's not coming to your site. The consumer is going to Amazon and buying through the marketplace. It's like eBay, right? It's like you sell on eBay. eBay's not really direct to consumer. So this is direct to consumer, D2C, and this is super popular right now, and that's great. There's a few things on D2C. There are what we call, at UFO, we call these the laws of D2C. Okay, there are laws that are inescapable no matter what. You have to do these things in like 90% of cases, or you're just not going to make that much money. And if you are making money not doing these things, wow, you are sitting on a gold mine. If you do these things, you will make way more money. So let me show you, let's go through the checkout process and I'll tell you what those things are. And we'll see if they're doing these things. Can I? Yeah, so it doesn't look like they're doing these things. Let's use my Cincinnati info here. Let's continue to shipping. Yeah, so it doesn't look like they're going to do some of these things. So it looks like we're just going to go check out and buy this product. Let me tell you guys this, depending on your product, depending on what you're selling, you will double your sales, right? You will somewhere in the range of 20% to 100% increase in sales if during checkout or right after checkout, you cross-sell and upsell, okay? And what I mean by that is I'm buying this helmet right now, okay? If I'm buying something, what have I done? I've signaled intent to buy in about the clearest possible way, actually buying something, right? So I've signaled intent to buy. My wallet is out. I'm ready to do something. And what do grocery stores do when your wallet is out and you're ready to make a purchase, right? What happens when you're in that aisle? What are you surrounded by? You're surrounded by cross-sells and upsells. You're surrounded by things that are easy to buy, that capture your eye, that capture your attention. And what do? They increase the order value of your purchase, right? And so your goal as a D2C brand must be, a lot of D2C brands simply won't survive if you don't do this. In fact, most of the ones I've seen won't survive unless you do this. This is a minimum requirement for a lot of brands. But for the brands out there, like, these guys I think are probably pretty well known. I bet they probably will do okay through D2C regardless. But you could do 20 to 100% more with making a very minor change here. And what would I do? You want to create that grocery store checkout aisle, okay? During the checkout process, you should be suggesting other things that they should buy, or offering deals, right? Okay, I'm buying this gloss black helmet. Well, people who have motorcycles, they often ride with a partner. Well, maybe my partner wants a new helmet too, right? Okay, well, I could suggest whatever I'm buying here, let's say this looks like a junior, but let's say, okay, it's a junior. Let's say I'm buying a junior helmet. Why don't I suggest an adult helmet here for 20% off? Or whatever makes sense for the brand. Something that's enough that I will still make money on it, and you can test that. You can test what you put there and how much you earn, total revenue and total profit, stuff like that, and figure out what is the combination that's getting me the maximum profit or the maximum revenue or whatever my goal is, my business goal right at the time. Figure out what that is and put those products there, because as I'm checking out, I may not have even looked over here. Well, these are novelty helmets, but eyewear, I mean, that's a good example. If you're riding a motorcycle, you often need something, sunglasses, goggles, something like that. Maybe I need new ones. What about accessories? There's caps here, there's cleaning supplies, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I might need buying this helmet that I might not even know exists on this site because I didn't take the time to explore. And so that's why just suggesting some of those things, you can increase your revenue 20%, you can increase your average order value 20 to 100% very easily by doing that. So do that during the checkout process. You want to recreate that grocery store, and you can get crazy with this, right? This could be as simple as just hard coding a product in here. You could, but then the next level of that would be running experiments to see which products actually sell more and drive more revenue or more profit or whatever your goal is, right? The next level from that would be to use a little machine learning to try to figure out which products on your site, this is what Amazon does, which products are most likely to get purchased alongside the product that's currently being purchased, right? That's what Amazon does, and that people also buy thing, and in like the ads, I mean, the whole system is doing that. So that's something you can do. You can take it all the way to that level, and then really experiment. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, a fully mature e-commerce site should know that when somebody buys this specific helmet, these 3 other products increase our average order value 30%. And that's more than all of the other any other product we could show them. You should know exactly what those are. You know, a fully mature e-commerce site should know exactly what those are. So then when you go through the checkout process and you get to the very end, and my guess is because they're not cross-selling or upselling here, they're not doing this at the very end either. At the very end, right before I check out, you could also offer another option, right? Another one that works really well is at the end of the checkout, once you've checked out, you get a notice that says, hey, press this one button and buy this extra thing, and you can get that extra thing for 20% off, right? Like immediately after, okay? You should be selling, that person is checking out. This is like imagine the funnel, right? Very high funnel. Your top funnel, you're running top funnel ads. Let's say you're running like TV ads, which are fairly high funnel, right? Brand ads on TV is about as high funnel as it gets. You're not necessarily going to try to sell really hard there. But as somebody gets closer to the bottom of the funnel, just like the grocery store, as somebody gets down to the bottom of the grocery store funnel, they get to that checkout aisle, they should be surrounded by extra things that they can buy, because that's going to help increase your average order value. And in a lot of cases, you're just not going to be profitable if you don't do that. Because in D2C, the cost to acquire a customer is high. And if you are not making that initial average order value or the lifetime value of your customer also high to compensate for that, you're going to have a hard time making enough money. And that's why this is so crucial, so crucial. And then not only that, after the checkout process, you should be sending coupons, hey, do you want to upgrade now? Do you want to get this other thing now? Do you want to buy an extra product? You have until tomorrow. If you buy another one of these helmets, you'll get 20% off. You know what I mean? You've captured that customer. That customer has put trust in you to pull out their wallet and buy something from you. They like that enough. Okay? They like that enough they like what you have enough to do that. Make sure they know what else you have, because they might want some of that other stuff. And that's really, really significantly going to help profitability, and it's going to help your lifetime value of the customer go up substantially. You know, we have e-commerce sites with $180 average order values, you know, with products that are $70, $80, $180 average order values, and $300 lifetime value, customer lifetime values. That's pretty good. That's really good. And that's what you want. And you get that by maximizing the value of every order. You get that by acquiring the customer as cheap as possible, right? Which is a big part of what we do. And then maximizing the value of each purchase of each customer over the life of that customer. And that's obviously a little more complicated. It comes down to products. Obviously, you have to have great products. You have to have products that your customers want, things like that. But you also need to be taking every opportunity you can to show those customers that you have other stuff that they probably want. So don't miss out on those opportunities. If you're selling D2C, that is absolutely crucial. And if you need some help with this, get in touch with us.